Snow falls silently on a mountain pass 7,000 feet above sea level. Inside a warm train car, passengers sip mulled wine as the Swiss Alps roll past the windows, transformed into a winter wonderland. Outside, the world is frozen. Inside, it's Christmas. This is what happens when you combine Europe's most spectacular railways with the magic of the holiday season. And for the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on the ultimate European Christmas train journey. 5 legendary routes, 5 completely different experiences, all connected by one thing: the kind of magic that only happens when steam, snow, and the spirit of Christmas come together on the rails. Before we board these trains, let me paint you a picture of what European Christmas really means. It's not just a holiday, it's a season that transforms entire cities and landscapes. Medieval town squares fill with wooden market stalls selling handcrafted ornaments and roasted chestnuts. The smell of glühwein, hot spiced wine, drifts through cobblestone streets. Church bells ring across snow-covered valleys. And the trains? They become moving celebrations, carrying passengers through landscapes that look like they've been pulled straight from a Christmas card. But here's what makes these particular journeys special. These aren't just scenic railways that happen to run in December. These are routes where winter isn't an obstacle to overcome. It's the whole point, where the snow and ice transform already spectacular scenery into something almost otherworldly, where the contrast between the warm, cozy train interior and the frozen wilderness outside creates an experience you can't replicate any other time of year. And the best part, you can actually do this. Every route we're about to explore operates through the Christmas season. Some require advance booking months ahead. Others you can hop on with just a regular ticket. But all of them offer something that's becoming increasingly rare in our modern world: a chance to slow down, to watch the landscape change, to experience the kind of journey where getting there really is half the adventure. But here's the twist. The magic of these Christmas train journeys isn't just about the scenery. It's about the history, the traditions, the stories of how these railways have been connecting communities through harsh winters for over a century, and how they've become part of the Christmas tradition itself. Let's start our journey in Switzerland, because if there's one country that's perfected the art of winter rail travel, it's the Swiss. The Glacier Express in winter is something special. You've probably heard of this train. It's famous year-round, marketed as the slowest express train in the world. But in December and January, when the Alps are buried under feet of snow, the Glacier Express becomes something else entirely. It becomes a journey through a frozen kingdom. The route runs from Zermatt to St. Moritz, taking about 8 hours to cover 180 miles. That's an average speed of just over 20 miles per hour. But speed isn't the point. The point is the panoramic windows that let you see the Alps in their full winter glory. Snow-covered peaks that seem to glow in the winter light. Frozen waterfalls hanging from cliff faces. Villages that look like miniature Christmas displays, with church steeples rising above snow-laden roofs. But here's what makes the Winter Glacier Express truly special: the light. In December, the sun stays low in the sky, creating long shadows and a golden glow that photographers dream about. The snow reflects this light, making everything seem to shimmer. And because the train moves slowly, you have time to absorb it all. To watch how the light changes as you cross from one valley to another. To see the way shadows move across the mountainsides. Inside the train, it's warm and comfortable. The panoramic cars have huge windows that curve up into the roof, giving you an almost 360-degree view. Many passengers order lunch in the dining car, where white tablecloth service and Swiss precision combine to create a meal that's as much about the experience as the food. And yes, you can get glühwein, because even the Swiss know that winter train journeys and hot spiced wine go together perfectly. The Glacier Express crosses 291 bridges and passes through 91 tunnels. It climbs to over 6,600 feet at the Oberalp Pass. And in winter, when the high passes are closed to road traffic, the train becomes one of the few ways to cross the Alps. You're not just taking a scenic journey, you're traveling a route that's been vital to alpine communities for over a century. Now, if the Glacier Express is about grandeur and scale, our next journey is about drama and contrast. The Bernina Express in winter. The Bernina Express crosses from Switzerland into Italy, climbing to over 7,000 feet at the Bernina Pass. What makes this route remarkable is how dramatically the landscape changes. You start in the German-speaking part of Switzerland, surrounded by snow-covered peaks and frozen lakes. You cross the highest point, where the world is nothing but white, and then you descend into Italy, where palm trees grow and the Mediterranean influence is unmistakable. In winter, this contrast becomes even more striking. At the top of the pass, you're in full Arctic conditions. The Morteratsch Glacier, one of the longest glaciers in the Alps, dominates the landscape. The wind howls, the temperature can drop to well below zero. But as you descend toward Italy, the snow gradually disappears. The architecture changes, the light becomes warmer. Within an hour, you've traveled from winter to something that feels almost like early spring. The engineering on this route is spectacular. The Bernina Express is a conventional railway, meaning it doesn't use rack and pinion assistance despite the extreme elevation changes. Instead, it uses tight curves and clever routing to manage the grades. The most famous section is the Brusio Circular Viaduct, where the track spirals in a complete circle. In winter, with snow covering the viaduct and the surrounding landscape, it looks like something from a model railway brought to life. The Bernina Express operates year-round, but winter service requires special preparation. Snowplows keep the tracks clear, heating systems prevent ice from forming on the overhead wires, and the trains themselves are equipped to handle extreme cold. It's a testament to Swiss engineering that this route, which crosses some of the harshest terrain in Europe, runs reliably even in the depths of winter. But now let's leave the Alps and head north to Germany, because if Switzerland does winter rail travel with precision and elegance, Germany does it with tradition and nostalgia. Welcome to the Harz Steam Railway in December. The Harz Mountains in central Germany aren't as tall as the Alps. The highest peak, the Brocken, reaches just 3,747 feet, but what the Harz lacks in elevation, it makes up for in atmosphere. These are ancient mountains, covered in dense forests, dotted with medieval towns, and steeped in folklore. The Brocken itself is famous in German legend as the meeting place of witches on Walpurgis Night. And the Harz narrow gauge railways. They're a network of over 80 miles of track, all still operated by steam locomotives, not tourist replicas, real working steam engines, some built in the 1950s, that haul passengers and freight year-round. In December, the Harz Steam Railway becomes something magical. The locomotives are decorated with wreaths, the stations are lit with Christmas lights, and the journey to the summit of the Brocken, through snow-covered forests with steam billowing from the locomotive, feels like traveling back in time to a Christmas from a century ago. The climb to the Brocken is steep, with grades reaching 1 in 30 in some sections. The locomotives work hard, their exhausts echoing through the forest. Inside the heated passenger cars, you can smell the coal smoke. You can feel the rhythm of the pistons. And when you reach the summit, you step out into a winter landscape that's often above the clouds. On clear days, you can see for miles across the snow-covered mountains. On foggy days, you're in a white void, with only the railway station and the summit buildings visible. What makes the Harz Steam Railway special during Christmas is how it connects to the region's Christmas markets. The town of Wernigerode, at the base of the mountain, hosts one of Germany's most beautiful Christmas markets. The medieval town square, dominated by a fairy tale castle on the hill above, fills with wooden stalls selling handcrafted ornaments, gingerbread, and yes, glühwein. You can spend the morning exploring the market, then board the steam train for the afternoon journey to the Brocken. It's a combination of experiences that captures everything that makes a German Christmas special. But now we're going to head even further north, to a place where winter isn't just a season, it's a way of life, to the Arctic Circle and beyond, to the land of the midnight sun in summer and the polar night in winter. This is where we board the trains that run to the top of Europe. The Inlandsbanan, or Inland Railway in Sweden, runs from Kristinehamn in the south to Gällivare in the far north, covering over 800 miles through some of the most remote terrain in Europe. In summer, it's a popular tourist route, but in winter, most of the line closes. The far northern sections, however, remain open, serving communities that depend on the railway when roads become impassable. Taking a train into Swedish Lapland in December is an experience unlike any other railway journey in Europe. The landscape is vast and empty. Endless forests of pine and spruce, their branches heavy with snow, frozen lakes that stretch to the horizon, and in the far north, the tundra where trees can't survive and the land is covered in snow from October to May. But the real magic happens after dark. Because in December, this far north, the sun barely rises. You get a few hours of twilight around midday, but most of the day is darkness. And in that darkness, if you're lucky, you see them. The northern lights, the aurora borealis, green curtains of light dancing across the sky, sometimes tinged with red or purple. It's a phenomenon that's been inspiring awe for thousands of years, and seeing it from a warm train car as you travel through the Arctic wilderness is unforgettable. The Swedish trains also connect to the Norwegian railway network, and you can continue your journey to Narvik, a Norwegian port city north of the Arctic Circle. The Ofoten line, which connects Narvik to the Swedish border, is one of the most northerly railways in the world. It was built to transport iron ore from Swedish mines to the ice-free port of Narvik, and it operates year-round despite extreme Arctic conditions. Riding this train in December, you're traveling through a landscape that's dark, frozen, and beautiful in a way that's hard to describe. The train passes through tunnels carved through solid rock. It crosses bridges over frozen fjords, and occasionally you catch glimpses of the lights of small communities, isolated outposts in the Arctic darkness. But here's what makes these Arctic train journeys special during Christmas: the contrast. You're traveling through one of the harshest environments on Earth. Outside, it's minus 20 degrees Celsius. The wind is howling, the landscape is frozen solid, but inside the train, it's warm. There's coffee, there's conversation, and there's a sense of shared experience with your fellow passengers. You're all on this journey together, traveling through the polar night. And when you arrive in towns like Kiruna in Sweden or Narvik in Norway, you find communities that have adapted to the extreme conditions. Christmas here isn't about mild weather and outdoor markets. It's about light in the darkness, about warmth in the cold, about community in isolation. The Christmas celebrations in these Arctic towns have a different character, more intimate, more focused on the essentials of what the holiday means. But let's bring our journey back south now, because we need to talk about the Christmas markets, the Weihnachtsmärkte, because no European Christmas train journey is complete without experiencing these. Nuremberg's Christkindlesmarkt is one of the oldest and most famous Christmas markets in Europe, dating back to the mid-1500s. The market fills the medieval old town with over 180 wooden stalls, all decorated in red and white cloth. The smell of roasted almonds, gingerbread, and bratwurst fills the air, and it's easily accessible by train, with Nuremberg being a major railway hub in southern Germany. But here's what makes Nuremberg special: the tradition. This isn't a modern tourist creation. This is a market that's been held for nearly 500 years, surviving wars, plagues, and political upheaval. The crafts sold here, the Nuremberg gingerbread, the wooden toys, the glass ornaments, these are traditions that have been passed down through generations. Strasbourg, on the French-German border, claims to have the oldest Christmas market in Europe, dating back to 1570. The city's location, right on the Rhine, made it a natural stop on historic trade routes, and today it's easily reached by high-speed train from Paris, making it a popular destination for a Christmas market weekend. What makes Strasbourg's market special is the setting. The medieval city centre, with its half-timbered houses and the towering Gothic cathedral, provides a backdrop that's hard to beat. The market spreads across multiple squares, each with its own character. And because Strasbourg sits on the cultural border between France and Germany, the market blends traditions from both countries. You can take the TGV from Paris in the morning, spend the day exploring the market, and return in the evening. Or you can make it part of a longer journey, combining the Christmas market with a trip on one of the scenic railways we've discussed. The flexibility of Europe's rail network makes these combinations possible. But here's what ties all of these experiences together: the sense of tradition, the feeling that you're participating in something that's been happening for generations. European Christmas isn't a recent invention. It's a tradition that's evolved over centuries, shaped by climate, culture, and history, and the railways have become part of that tradition. The Glacier Express has been running since 1930. The Bernina Railway opened in 1910. The Harz Steam Railway dates back to the 1890s. These aren't new tourist attractions. These are working railways that have been connecting communities through harsh winters for over a century, and in doing so, they've become part of the fabric of European Christmas. So here's what I want you to imagine. It's mid-December. You're sitting in a warm train car, watching snow fall on the Alps. Or you're on a steam train climbing through a German forest, the smell of coal smoke mixing with the scent of pine trees. Or you're in the Arctic, watching the northern lights dance across the sky while the train carries you through the polar night. This is what the ultimate European Christmas train journey offers. Not just spectacular scenery, though there's plenty of that. Not just historic railways, though they're fascinating, but an experience that connects you to something deeper, to traditions that have survived for centuries, to landscapes that have inspired awe for millennia, to the simple pleasure of a warm train car on a cold winter day. These journeys are possible. The trains run, the Christmas markets open, the snow falls on the mountains. All you have to do is book a ticket and go. And if you do, you'll understand why Europeans have been celebrating Christmas this way for generations. Why the combination of trains, snow, and the holiday season creates something that's more than the sum of its parts. If you could take one of these Christmas train journeys, which would it be? The alpine grandeur of the Glacier Express? The dramatic contrasts of the Bernina? The nostalgic steam of the Harz? Or the Arctic adventure of the northern routes? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey through Europe's Christmas railways, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We've got more travel and railway content coming your way. Until next time, may your travels be warm, your views be spectacular, and your Christmas be filled with the magic of the rails.